I am a big Star Wars fan. My favorite character of all time in the series is Anakin. He's drippy. He's cool. Scar. I hate sand as well. And I just watched the re-release of Revenge of the Sith. It was fire. That's the first time I ever seen like the main the the movies from 1 to 6 in theaters. I've seen the 7 through 9 all in theaters, but I've never seen like the main ones in theaters, the prequel and the original. So yeah, we have a video by 100 is how strong is full potential Anakin. So if you don't know, Anakin didn't have the full potential of his body to have to feel the force because he got his arm cut off. I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about that in there. So let's see what OP Anakin could have been.
In a galaxy overshadowed by war, prophecy, and betrayal, there exists a name that echoes across time not only as a warrior, but the human incarnate of destiny itself. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, the hero with no fear,
Go.
the Knight of the Twin Suns, and the Sword of the Jedi Order. This man was one who was prophesied to bring balance to the Force, one who was born of no father, one sculpted by the will of the midichlorians themselves. He is a being touched by divinity, yet burdened by fate. The man referred to as the Virgins in the Force unlike anything ever seen. We all know at this point that at his peak, Anakin possessed Force potential that was unmatched by any Jedi or Sith to come before him, and maybe even after him, as even Grandmaster Yoda himself could not rival the raw magnitude of Anakin's connection to the Force. On top of this, once he was trained in the arts of war through his experience with Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, he became a living weapon, a savior to the Republic and a nightmare to the Separatists. Had Anakin never fallen, been maimed, burned, and trapped in the armor of Darth Vader, he easily would have become the greatest Force user to ever live. That much has been made clear in recent years. In this video, I intend to cover the strength of Anakin Skywalker through going over his feats, lore, accolades, and more, and then using all of the information I can possibly find to speculate about where his true potential lies and how powerful he truly could have been. Thanks to the Clone Wars animated series, finding where a full potential Anakin lies may be easier than expected. With that said, this intro has dragged on long enough, and since I value the time of both you and I'm cutting it here and getting straight into the video. Anakin wasn't
Oh shit!
could have brought it easier than expected. Everything. Anakin wasn't just discovered.
Alright.
He
But yeah, I think this is gonna be good. This is gonna be a good vid.
was foretold. Jedi Masters spoke of the one who would bring balance to the Force, and when Qui-Gon Jinn stumbled upon a 9-year-old slave boy in Tatooine, everything changed. His midichlorian count surpassed that of Yoda.
I don't know why, but Anakin being a slave made me laugh. It shouldn't have been funny, but it was. I don't know why.
Signaling a connection to the Force so deep that it bordered on the divine. He could pod race at speeds humans shouldn't survive, sense things before they happened, and even subconsciously manipulate the Force in order to ensure survival. But this wasn't a clean destiny. Anakin's path was marred by institutional doubt, suppressed emotion, and a Jedi Order too rigid to handle the very change they claimed to seek. Though Qui-Gon Jinn believed him to be the Chosen One, the Council treated him with caution, even fear. He was denied the rank of Master despite his contributions, undermined at every turn, and trained in an environment that discouraged his most human instincts.
That is true though. If there's one, there's one joke where if you play like the newest Lego Star Wars game, like the Skywalker Star Wars games, it's like if you joke if you have Anakin and Mace Windu, he'd be like, man, can I just please be Jedi Master? And Mace is like, no, no, you can't.
Love, compassion, and attachment. He was raised amongst warriors, but denied the space to feel and to grieve. This contradiction, being told to protect what you cannot hold dear, created a rift within Anakin, one that would only grow. From his early days, the galaxy made it clear Anakin was a being of immense consequence. Not just a Jedi, not just a soldier, but a living axis upon which the entire fate of the Force would spin. Thanks to the Clone Wars, actually, we did get a glimpse of what Anakin would become. At just 22 years old, he was one of the most powerful Jedi alive, second to only Yoda and Mace Windu in public regard, but even they recognized that in time, Anakin would eventually surpass everyone. Trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi and tempered by war, Anakin was a one-man army. He held off entire battalions with nothing but a lightsaber and his will. On the front lines, clones whispered stories of his ferocity, of how he'd leap headfirst into the thickest of firefights and emerge unscathed, enemies crushed by the power of his blade or hurled by the force like ragdolls. He brought down Count.
That's crazy, because if I'm a clone and I'm a clone and I see Anakin coming, I'm running away. I'm gonna be the first Finn. I'm running away. I'm not fighting that man. All I gotta see is that blue light and it's over. I can't kill him. And plus it's programmed to me to miss every shot. It's canon. I'm losing. I'm not dying this way, bro. Nah.
Dooku in a display of dominance, cutting off both of his hands and disarming a Sith Lord who had previously fought evenly with Yoda. He dueled Asajj Ventress to a stalemate multiple times and even drove her into retreat. He fought Savage Opress and Maul with brutal efficiency, showing no hesitation in taking on Sith-level threats at once. His duel with Barriss Offee showed off not only his strength, but his intensity, a merciless pursuit through the Jedi Temple that emphasized how far he was willing to go when he believed in his mission. One of Anakin's best examples of his power came during the Battle of Nelvan, where Anakin was able to single-handedly destroy a massive separatist installation and free an entire population of enslaved warriors. This wasn't just by brute force though, it was a calculated destruction.
His armpits hairy as hell, hairy.
Of enslaved warriors. This wasn't just by brute force.
Look at them hairy armpits. I'm sorry, this man giving us some good info, but man, them armpits hairy as fuck. Nigga got some bushes in his shit. Let's hear more lore.
It was a calculated destruction, overwhelming speed and strategic brilliance all rolled into one. And in space, Anakin was just as deadly, taking down entire cruisers with great piloting and using the Force to sense all sorts of enemy movements before they would even happen. But the most impressive fact about all of this is the fact that he was doing all this while maintaining command over thousands of clone troopers. Do you know how much finesse you actually gotta have to be doing all of that while sending out orders and leading thousands of people all at once? Anakin truly was a plot device made human. The Republic's victories throughout the war weren't because of strategy, but they were really because of him. Anakin alone could turn the tide of any battle. When we go to his feats with the Force, they are nothing short of legendary. Anakin has been able to lift massive structures, force push droidekas through walls and even through planets if he wanted to, demonstrate telekinetic power that nearly dwarfed everybody around him, and in one instance during the Clone Wars, he was able to even shatter reinforced metal structures without even drawing his lightsaber. Anakin could choke enemies from across the battlefield and destroy droid tanks with the Force alone. His Force reflexes were so sharp that he could dodge blaster fire at point-blank ranges and take down elite bounty hunters like Cad Bane and Dirge. He also displayed masterful precognition.
I'm telling you, man, hey, Anakin was walking you down on foot. You could not play with that man. Before he got that dark side in him, he was walking you down on foot. He was running you down on foot, actually. When he became a Sith Lord, that's when he started walking. He had all that armor on. Damn breathing box and shit.
Which has allowed him to anticipate enemy attacks and lead entire fleets with supernatural timing. Anakin Skywalker's stats are pretty great as well. We see that throughout the Clone Wars, he's managed to combat the likes of Dooku many times over, even making Dooku some sort of rival throughout the events of the Clone Wars, and by the Revenge of the Sith, forget about it. Anakin is more than likely the most powerful Jedi, at least when he's in a calm state. Man. It's kind of hard to accurately give Star Wars characters a strength level because the Jedi especially rarely exert themselves all the way. But if we want to just use Anakin's peak at Mortis and all, composite, universal and above. Anakin Skywalker is also an extremely fast combatant, literally being stated to move as if he were a blur throughout the Star Wars mythos, and match the combat speed of Dooku, who was stated to swing his lightsaber at faster than light speeds in the Attack of the Clones novelization. On top of all of this, Anakin is a war general, seasoned in preparation, on top of being a mechanical and technical genius, all traits of the man created by the Force itself. We see Anakin outplay his opponents many times throughout the battles of the Clone Wars, and single-handedly turn the tides of all kinds of battles with his mind alone. Starfighting, boots on the ground, tactical battles, even negotiations or stealth missions, Anakin has been able to do it all, and seemingly with ease. Really, the only time when Anakin fails is when he's up against a formidable rival such as Darth Tyrannus himself. Anakin is also privy to screwing himself and his strategies over when his temper gets involved. If you have someone he cares about at risk, he may actually throw away an entire surefire plan just to ensure their safety. This is a glaring weakness of his, one that would drive him into one of fiction's greatest downward spirals. The Mortis arc in the Clone Wars,
that's why his ass was tweaking. He was tweaking over Padme, man.
Is arguably the clearest glimpse at what Anakin Skywalker could have become had he embraced his full potential. In this realm outside of time and space, Anakin is shown his true destiny by the Father, a godlike being who maintains balance between the Son, the dark side of the Force, and the daughter, the light side of the Force. During this arc, Anakin demonstrates the ability to bend both sides of the Force to his will. He literally subdues both the son and the daughter simultaneously.
Oh, that's crazy.
I mean, let's move away from the show and
this
even
lore
go
is
to the
tough.
creator of Star Wars himself, George Lucas.
See what Big George got to
made
say
it
about
clear.
game.
He said that Anakin Skywalker had the potential to become twice as powerful as Palpatine. This is the same Palpatine who can conjure force storms that swallowed fleets and who manipulated galactic politics for decades without detection. Anakin, had he reached his prime, would have
Prime Anakin. Prime Anakin would have been wild. What? Two Palpatine? He could have been two Palpatines, bro.
Transcended that. The Force itself willed him into existence. If the Force has a will, then Anakin was that will's hand. Unlike Luke, who had to grow into greatness, Anakin was literally born for it. And unlike most, he didn't have to meditate for decades to lift Star Destroyers. That kind of power was just in him.
Crazy.
He was simply built different and only needed a little bit of time. Now, Anakin's lightsaber form, the Gem So, relied on overwhelming strength and precise counters, and I don't think anybody handled it more perfectly than him. When it came to Anakin, his duels were not just battles, they were literally storms. The dude was out-dueling Dooku, the same man who trained Qui-Gon Jinn and rivaled Yoda. He even overwhelmed Asajj Ventress repeatedly, tore through thousands of battle droids, and even bested mechanical monstrosities designed to literally counter Jedi. And through the siege of the Jedi Temple, we know that even Jedi Masters were nothing to Anakin at his peak. So what would a full potential Anakin actually look like? According to George Lucas and multiple in-universe sources, he would have ascended to a level of power and insight unseen in galactic history. He would have embodied Luke's serenity, Yoda's spiritual mastery, Mace Windu's technical precision, and Sidious's cunning, all without being consumed by any single philosophy. Anakin was not meant to be a reflection of either Jedi or Sith, but a synthesis of both. He would have transcended these divisions entirely. In such a state, Anakin would have mastered Force powers far beyond the scope of all users. Force healing, matter manipulation, phase walking, battle precognition, weather control. These would just be a fraction of his arsenal. He would have likely gained access to rare and arcane Force abilities like Force Light, Force Strain on a planetary scale, and even Force Time Perception, allowing him to experience events across multiple timelines or dimensions simultaneously. Legends characters such as Abeloth, the Ones of Mortis, and even entities like Nihilus represented distorted extremes of Force potential, but Anakin was meant to be the balance. Unlike those beings who fell into madness, Anakin had the heart and the grounding to retain his identity. With training, his will could have been an anchor that aligned the Force itself. He would not simply control the Force, he would act as its embodiment, a living equilibrium.
He would have been
Imagine
the Force,
Anakin just standing alone against mad galactic threats, rending Sith temples into dust with a gesture, quieting planetary conflicts with his presence, or even entering the world between worlds at will. The Jedi feared power like his for good reason, but had they embraced it, nurtured it, and just accepted it, the Chosen One would have led the galaxy not through domination or suppression, but through understanding and harmony. In a very real sense.
That is true. Like, if they would have just been like, hey, man. Because I never understood the whole thing. It was like, you knew he was a chosen one. You knew he was supposed to be cold. So why the fuck are we hating on him right now? Like, if you know you have the chosen one, you should be trying to build him up so he can be the best person we have. And then when things get downhill, he gonna be like, okay, I got us. He the chosen one. Like, they was like holding him back. And that holding him back made him want to just revolt. And it ain't getting Palpatine getting him. Like, if he's not wrong, it's like if they would have just let him be like, hey, you him, we gonna help you up. But like they was just like playing with bro instead. Like it's crazy.
He could have become what the father of Mortis represented, the final guardian of cosmic order. In this form, Anakin could theoretically master every Force ability and more. He would have redefined what a Jedi or a Sith could be. Entire fleets, planets, and even time itself might have bent to his will.
Crazy,
He would have not
bro.
been a weapon or a servant of prophecy, but the final answer to it. The Force's will made manifest. So to answer the question that this video proposes, I've already mentioned it a couple times, but for finality's sake, here you go. If you guys wanted to know the true power of a full potential Anakin, we see it during the events of the Mortis
His battle's
arc in the
tough.
Clone Wars. When confronted by the father, the son, and the daughter with both Obi-Wan and Ahsoka's lives in their hands, he would be given the opportunity to channel his full power and command the Force in order to make them not only release both his master and student, but to force the literal embodiments of the Force to kneel before him right after, completing this monumental Universal Plus feat with little difficulty. It's not very difficult to see that Anakin would have become a force that reigns supreme across the cosmos if given the opportunity to grow at an optimal rate and never losing any of his limbs. What makes Anakin truly special though isn't just his raw power. It's the fact that despite his flaws, despite everything he became as Vader, he still found his way back. Destiny is always in his hands. That same compassion that made him vulnerable also saved him, and Luke saw it, and so did the Force. In a timeline where Anakin never fell, that compassion would have matured into the wisdom of a Grand Master. He wouldn't have rebuilt the Jedi Order the same way Luke did, but something more evolved, something that actually balanced emotion and discipline. He would have created a new Jedi Order not based in the fear of attachment, but on understanding it. He would have trained a generation to not only wield the Force, but live with it in harmony. His vision of peace was more real than the Jedi Councils, and without the influence of Palpatine, he could have brought it to life. Anakin Skywalker's fall was one of the greatest tragedies in galactic history, not simply because of the suffering it caused, but because of the brilliance it erased. What could have been was never allowed to truly unfold. The Jedi feared his intensity, the Sith preyed on his vulnerability, but neither truly understood him. At full power, Anakin would have not been a blunt instrument of power or dogma. He would have been the purest conduit of the Force, fluid, boundless, and incorruptible. Imagine a galaxy where Anakin fulfilled the prophecy not through sacrifice, but through transformation, leading a Jedi Order that embraced humanity
That
instead
would've
of suppressing
crazy,
it,
bro.
dismantling the cycle of war and retaliation. The Force in all of its facets, light, dark, and everything in between, would no longer be a divided battlefield. It would be a unified voice through him. He wouldn't just bring balance, he would be the balance. In every legend, there is a figure who straddles on the edge of divinity, one who holds power unimaginable but seeks peace over conquest, understanding over control. Anakin Skywalker was destined to be that figure. The Jedi saw him as dangerous, the Sith saw him as useful, but the galaxy, destiny itself, was meant to see him as something else entirely, its deliverance. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown of what could have been, consider leaving a like.
It's a good vid, man. Hey, shout out to 100 for how strong is the full potential Anakin. Yeah, it's really Anakin is such a big thing because if he would have had got the full support of the Jedi Council, like the story could be completely different. And it makes you wonder, like, if George Lucas would have thought of making Anakin first instead of making the Luke thing, I wonder how the whole process would have been there. But yeah, Anakin's the GOAT. He would have been Goku if he had all his limbs. But yeah, shout out to the 100, man. Great vid, bro.